first of all, thanks for coming. I don't think there's anybody here that doesn't know me, so I'll dispense with the introductions and everything. Right.
Party in the park.
So, nearly. What we're going to talk about tonight is parts on the air. So, what is parts on the air? It's basically a radio sport awards scheme that encourages portable operations from county, regional and nationally managed public lands. POTA, as it's known, parts on the air, POTA, POTA, has a large set of references and a short set of rules. You're welcome to join us as an activator, as a chaser or a hunter, or whatever a better word, or both, so you can do either. So you can either just go out to parks and activate parks, or you can sit at home and listen for activators, or you can do a bit of both. It's really up to you. The rules are quite laid back, it's quite relaxed. It actually grew out of the WWF scheme, WWFF scheme, sorry, Worldwide Flora and Fauna, and they need 44 QSOs to make an activation. This scheme needs 10. So it's a lot more laid back, so you can do your 10 activations and you keep back, get your feet in the lake or whatever you want to do, or carry on.
Are people that participate called the Park Radio Rangers?
No. No, so it all grew out of, there was the ARRL a couple of years ago did a year of national parks on the air, and it was that successful that a lot of the guys who've been doing that for the year basically got their heads together and sort of like fell out with the WWFF lot because they're a bit, you know, let's just say their goals diverged. They want to change and WWFF didn't want to change, so they set their own scheme up and WWFF got upset, but let's move on. So basically that's it in a nutshell. You go to a park that's listed in the database, you set your radio up, you start talking, you get contacts, you get 10 contacts, you've activated the park. It's that simple. As I said, it started with a small group of USA-based volunteers who created the rules, infrastructure and the database. There is now a website, I'll show the website in a bit. POTA then acquired volunteers to coordinate the call areas and social media. And now POTA is quite big. There's loads of people at it in the States, and in the last couple of months we've got regional representatives defined in Costa Rica, Australia, Mexico, Canada, Indonesia as well. So there's more and more territories coming online every month. At the minute, the only people, or the only person that's activated any parks in the UK, well, in the G region, which is just England, is myself. So, yeah. This is me trying to drum up a bit of interest. Right, so how to join the scheme. So basically you go to the website and you create an account. You can either use your Google account, your Amazon account, your Facebook account, or your email and password. It's really simple. And then you get access to the dashboard. So what I'll do at the minute is I'll just break away and I'll show you the dashboard. So that's the dashboard. This screen allows you to log in from that button, and then you've got essentially quite a few fields showing you top activators of all time, top activators for the current year, top hunters of all time, hunters for the year, and to say this thing's only been going a few years. If you look at the number of contacts that some of these guys are racking up, they're doing quite well. So it's really active in the States, and I became aware of it through watching a guy called Mike, K8MRD Radio Stuff on YouTube. Basically he goes to a park and he sets his radio up and he starts talking. I thought, oh, that looked like a really good idea, that. And then I just discovered that it wasn't available in the UK, but it is now. Okay, so that's pretty much the home screen, and from there you can basically get to anywhere else. So just the bottom half of the home screen, you've got Part-to-part contacts. These are quite highly sought after, so basically if you're activating one part, chances are you could actually get a contact from somebody else activating another part, but that would obviously mean that it has to be more than one person, not just me. So that's why I need your help. So I can get some part-to-part contacts. And then you've got like a bit of a welcome screen to newest members, and scheduled activations, spotlight menus, etc., etc. So that's just the home screen. I just thought I'd let you see that. Feel free to chip in and ask questions along the way.
Can you become a reporter?
A what?
Reporter.
Go on.
As a reporter.
If you want. Right. So this is these are the current maps, right? So that map there is actually available from the website. That's a map that I created in the last. That's the first map I created. The new map has got the same number of objects, but it's got a different coloured pin mark, and the actual data that you get when you click on one of those pins is actually relevant and correct now.
Can you only have one activator in a national park then?
No, you can have as many as you want. You can have as many as you want.
Is that live?
Sorry?
Is that live?
There aren't any links to the website for that map yet.
That's what I'll keep wanting to get.
Basically, I can share that on the Facebook group, but I'm waiting on the guys, because obviously all these guys in America that administer the website, they've all got day jobs, they've all got families, and they're all volunteers. So, getting them to make updates on the system is, it's on a best endeavours basis. So, I mean, I've basically myself in my own time, I've had to find the coordinates for 354 parks. Yeah, that's what I inherited. And then since then, I've added at least another 150 into the system. So what you've got now is you've got things like national park. Well, you already had national parks and all the conservation areas that we inherited from the WWFS scheme. And now we've got things like country parks, so you can see Rother Valley, or Poolsbrook, or Vicar Water. Vicar Water's definitely in there. I think Langle might be in that. I can check. And you can pull up the details, but obviously you'll need the link to my Google map to find that map.
Do you get information coming through once you're registered, when these events are going to be taking place and everything?
Right, so what we'll do is, you'll see that a bit later on.
Right.
Alright? So what do you need? Obviously you need a licence, a radio, and an antenna. Some kind of power, either paper-based logging that you can upload to an electronic logger or use an electronic logger. I use N1MM when I'm doing these. And basically a desire to go out and use your radio and have a good time and enjoy the surroundings that you're in.
You might.
Can you operate from in the car?
Yes, you can operate from in the car. You can work any mode as long as you don't work through a repeater.
Is it over just one day or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Andy's actually got a video on YouTube of him activating, so you can see what you need to do.
Ryan, it's not one day. It's 365 days a year.
Yeah.
So every day of the year.
It's whenever you want to go and activate a park,
Whenever
you
want
can
to
go.
do it.
Oh, right.
It's not an event.
Right.
It's not like a
So you
contest.
just go to a park and set up and register and that's it?
No.
Provided it's on that map with a reference, and
Right.
when you're activating it, you give that reference number as part you're activating.
I've got you. With your cut along with your call sign?
Yeah.
Right.
So this is the next thing. How do I activate? So you make 10 simplex QSOs in one UTC day. So that can be a 24-hour period starting at 9 o'clock in the morning, finishing the following night at 8:59. So you've got a full 24 hours to go out to get your activation in. There are specific awards, can't remember what they call them, but if you work a park after a certain time of night, then you qualify as a certain type of operator. I'll dig it out whilst.
Probably get locked in.
Sorry?
Probably get locked in.
You might get locked in, yeah. I mean, if you're in the Peak District, you're not going to get locked in the Peak District, are you? But
If you get locked in, you can operate through that or not,
Yeah.
until they're locked down.
yeah. So, inside the boundaries of the park, so John Whitworth can't use his nice site where he goes /P from, because he's about a kilometre outside the Peak District National Park. Yeah, that was a bit disappointing when I found that out. That'd be a great place to operate. But I went up to a bit of a lay-by just on the top of Ringing Road when I did the Peak
I
District.
suppose this is where APRS had come in to prove exactly where you are.
You don't have to prove anything, because it's all based on faith. It's all
Yeah.
faith-based. So if you work an operator that's not in the scheme, your log is still valid for submission. You don't have to request their log or anything like that. So it's only the hunters that are participating that submit logs as receivers. Yeah. Right. So this statement here, POTA US recommends operating in the general bands. Now, I had this conversation on Facebook with one of the guys. He was saying, why were you down at 7.14 something? Because the general band can't hear you. Or, sorry, mate, we don't have the general band allocation in the UK. But that's what that refers to. So if you tune around outside the amateur band, and you do hear like CQ POTA at about 7.3, that's what it is. It's the general band of the American allocation. Right. So there's no specific exchange, but there is. Basically, CQ POTA, parks on the air, park reference, blah blah blah. Okay, all you need to do is log the time, the date, the band, the mode in your logger, and then once you complete, export it to ADIF, and the guys that actually do the logging. I'm not on this list, by the way, at the minute. I don't handle logs at this point in time, but the guys that do prefer that you stick to this format with your log files. It's just so that everybody has, they're not wading through all different kinds of file formats or file name formats, because obviously they're dealing with tens and hundreds of logs a day on a busy weekend.
So that K1234, is that a park reference?
That's an American park reference, yeah. So in terms of, I should have
Yeah.
adjusted that actually. So all our parks are G, the G region, yeah. Scotland are M, GM, sorry. Ireland, Northern Ireland is GI, then you've got GW for Wales, and all the sort of like Isle of Man would be GD, etc. But
And all the parks reference?
all the parks that are in the database are referenced,
Yeah.
but not all parks within England are in the database.
Right, yeah.
So,
So you can only use the parks that are in the database?
yeah. I mean, if there's a strong case for adding a park, speak to me about it and we'll see what I can do. But generally, I'm not going to be adding the green space at the bottom of your road in just so that you can...
No,
Well, that's not fair.
Okay.
Can't we have the common?
Well, I've added a few around your way, so don't get narky.
Oh, go on.
If you fancy a walk, get to the top of Silver Hill. Right, so how do you call CQ? On an SSB contact then, or FM, it will be CQ Parks on the Air, CQ POTA, this is me, activating park, G0048, that's the Peak District. So that, if you saw my video, that's the park reference I was using. If you've got the ability to get on the internet from the car or from wherever you are, you can go to the website and fill in the spotting form, which is there. And you can self-spot. There's no hassle with your self-spotting at all. Or if you hear somebody that's actually calling the CQ POTA, you can spot for them, as long as you fill that form in. And obviously, if you work in CW, who's that?
Buy my laptop.
Right. If you
You have to get it in, didn't you?
That's where he is.
yeah, it's not contest though, it's not contest.
No.
If you're using CW, then you basically have to put your call sign in twice with the park reference, and you get picked up on the reverse beacon network. Okay.
Can you add yourself to what part you're going to be activating before you leave to do it?
Yeah.
If you haven't got
And
internet.
there's various ways you can do that. You can do it from the website using this form. You can spot yourself on the Facebook group. To say I'm going out to this part, I'm going to be using this band during this time frame, listen out for me. Or you can use Slack, which I've got on here, which is that's a collaboration tool. Right, why would you enjoy portable activation? Do I really need to say this? Common sense really, just gets you outdoors, gets you using your radio in some nice places. If it ain't raining, you get a bit of catch a bit of sun, and hopefully you might get some drive-bys by some other amateurs like I did. I got one guy pull up beside me while I was up at ring me low and say he introduced himself as another amateur. Said, "Oh, I just passed you, like going down to the car park or whatever." I thought I'd pop in and say hello. So. You do get some interest, and obviously you get the nosy people that want to know what you're doing, like you're doing when you're contesting. So, but it's all it's all a bit of fun, and it is a good way of broadening the hobby out to Joe public. If Joe public sees you out there using your radio, they wonder what you're doing, and maybe spark a bit of enthusiasm.
Is it possible on H-Flex to activate another part in another country? If you can
Not
contact
understand the atmosphere at the minute.
Yeah, well, no, I meant, if the conditions are right, and somebody in the States is activating the part, and the basic frequency they're going to be on, and you can contact them.
Oh, you could be at Juice.
If you can hear them, if you can work them,
Yeah,
then yes.
yeah.
But obviously
So it doesn't just have to be in this country.
No, you're the DX.
Yeah.
You are at liberty to work any of the parks anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
If you've got propagation.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't really need to speak anymore about that one, do I? Okay. Other reasons people enjoy POTA. It's accessible. References are near most populated areas, and most of them are easily accessible by car. I think the only ones where you're going to struggle are places like there's a few of the conservation areas just shooting off of one of the dales where the Monsell Trail is. And some of these places, they may be set up as parks to work, but the logistics and the practicalities of actually working radio from those locations could be very challenging. For instance, if you sat at the bottom of one of the dales in the Peak District with like massive steep sides, but it's up to you. Give it a go. Do a bit of envis from a valley, see what happens. Right, so if you've already been to one of the parks before you were registered and you've got a log, you can actually submit it. So you're not it's not restricted to you actually joining the program and then activating the park. If you've already been to some of these places and got logs, you can submit them and and grab the points. So that's what I did when I did the UKC from Coombe Gibbet earlier this year, because that's in the middle of the North Wessex Downs area of outstanding natural beauty, I think. Right, so yeah, the POTA stats pages and maps are under continuous development, and many more features are planned. So it's evolving all the time. Obviously, as more and more regions join the scheme and more people start participating, then the website will grow. I mean, it may even split into websites for the various regions. Yeah, time will tell. And all modes are welcome. We can work data as well, Andy, if you want, but not FTA.
Well, that's not for radio.
Can you not work FTA? Are you being serious?
No, I'm joking, Paul. Right, so,
FTA's allowed free time.
Oh, certificates.
yeah, Donna.
Yeah, someone else told me to get
So you can get things, start grabbing certificates.
Yay.
It says on wallpaper, eh?
It does. I don't think it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be that.
What's that?
PSA cool.
First call, yeah. Whatever you want, as long as you're not working a repeater, you're fine. You know, do whatever you want. You can use a handy on FM, even a ball fan. You know, you got one. I've got 3. So
Are there any power limits?
no power limits.
Right.
I mean, some of these guys
Yeah.
are running QRP.
Not that I want to run 400 watts or anything.
Yeah.
But,
Some of the guys are running QRP. Some of the guys are running massive power. And obviously, there's people in the middle. Yeah. The Italians aren't part of it yet, so we've got a bit of breathing space for the time being. So get in whilst you can. So there's various different awards. I'm not going to go into each and every awards that you could qualify for, but there's like repeat offender awards if you keep going back to the same place and stuff like that. So. Right, so how does it work for people who aren't going out and activating parks? Just listen out for the parks and work them. If you do make contact with somebody, put a spot on the website or on Slack or whatever, so that other hunters are alerted to the fact that people are operating from that park. They don't actually have to no log submission necessary. Wow, that's good. And just check your dashboard. So put your parks in.
Centre park.
No.
Didn't mean to show the forest.
Plumber Park. Anywhere in Plumber Park.
No, Plumber Park you have to pay to go down with
Car
Brian.
parks you can't use either.
FCP.
I'm sorry, I'm a bit late first, but can you just define parks for me? Are there is it anything that's called a park regardless of
So
size?
basically, at the moment in England, you're looking at the national parks.
Yeah.
You're looking at national level conservation areas and
Yeah.
wildlife refuges, and you're looking at country parks
Yeah.
like Rother Valley, Paulsbrook,
Mm.
you know, and showgrounds. So on Tuesday, we're
Right.
going to Kilton Showground. Guess who added that one to the list?
Hey.
Yeah. We're going to be setting up a coal in Europe at about 30 feet and 40 metre delta loop up. But we need to get it up quick, safely, and go for it.
Yeah.
When I visit, we've got a radio in a park, I think we're a ranger.
Yeah.
Right. So in terms of people who aren't going out and looking operating from the parks, if you want to be a hunter, you know, you're helping the activators, helping the other amateurs out. It's easy, short contacts. It's a bit more than contesting. You know, you can actually there's no pressure, so you can have a bit of a chip, you know, rag show while you're making your contacts. You can qualify for awards, no log submissions. Obviously, the more that you use your radio, the better you become with it. You know, you sharpen your skills. You'll start to build up friends all over. You can do it as much or as little as you want, and it's free. Not mentioned that before. It is free unless you buy the merch. And you can actually help people like me by relaying things like your parts part calling or spotting, or just saying, you know, if you heard somebody working in another park and I haven't, you can say, oh, by the way, so and so's working that park, why don't you get on their frequency and get a park-to-park contact?
It's a bit like the X cluster thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, does that mean you can use KST?
Well, you don't have to use KST because you've got Facebook, you've got the website, you've got Slack,
Yeah.
so you don't need KST.
Is it only certain times that you do this? Is it like, set
Whenever you want.
times?
No,
So whenever you want.
whatever you want.
And
So,
Is
like-
there a parks on their Facebook page?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right.
yeah, I'll show you the page in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a few tips for hunting, but it's fairly common sense. Check the scheduler, follow social media, watch the POTA spotter, sign up for Slack. I'll show you the Slack application, but it's basically like it's a bit like Messenger, but we had the demo from Scott where you had different chat rooms. Well, Slack has got different groups that you can subscribe to and be allowed into and discuss various different things. So I'll show you that. So sign up for Slack, use phonetics or QRS as necessary, observe DX code of conduct, and spot to the spotter. Or if you prefer to a cluster with the comment POTA G 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you do spot to the cluster, the DX cluster, just put in the remarks, you can put in it that it's a POTA and then the part reference. More awards, it's time for hunters. Right, some challenges then. Quite topical, that one. Is the thunder and lightning and difficult weather. So you've got terrestrial and solar events, weather, etc. One for me, gear failure. Good news this week, it's fixed.
Yay.
Right, if you're unable to self-spot, so if you get to, the top of Kinder Scout, if you're that brave, and your phone's out of battery or whatever, or you can't get a signal, then you're not going to be able to self-spot. And then you've got your difficult parkies. Now, I've not been in any national parks or any other parks for that matter where I've had difficulties with ranges or whatever. I mean, before I was actually working radio, I took a walk down Padley Gorge and I set my hammock up and I was making a brew with my little stove on, and technically speaking you're supposed to have open flames in the national parks during summer, but that's all really. And one of the rangers walked down and started having a chat, and I said, sorry about the flames. He says, oh, that's fine. So as long as you're alright with the rangers, they're alright with you. So if they come up and they start asking questions, then just be friendly and polite with them, and they'll reciprocate. I think the only thing that you probably have difficulty with is if you start lobbing wires up into trees in protected areas and stuff like that. So that's just something to be aware of. But a lot of the protected areas in the UK are salt marshes, so you'll not find many trees there. In the big river estuaries around the Thames and in the Solent, there's tons of places down there where you can go and operate.
You've missed one off there. Under a book, Spooky Encounters.
Oh yeah. Spooky Encounters.
On the Thursday.
New pants required.
You need to add that to your checklist, mate.
Yeah.
Spare underpants. So, pro tips. Number 1, spare underpants. Safety first. If you've got guy wires out in well-trafficked areas, then I'd suggest getting some tape up on your lines, etc. Use high-vis lines. Even as we do with field day, get some of that orange netting out and cordon it off. Of course, we don't want any claims or like that. I mean, it's not as bad as it is in America, where claim on every doorstep, but you never know. Keep a checklist. And obviously that checklist needs to evolve as your equipment evolves, etc., etc. If you're going anywhere that's pretty extreme, keep an eye on the radio, on the weather, sorry, and have a radio with, a normal radio with you, so that you can listen to the news or the weather forecasts, etc. Especially up in places, you know, King of Scout, you know, you can be up there and it can be a bit of a cloudy day one minute and the next thing it's raining sideways and trying to blow you off the mountain. Okay, keep the data you need at the fingertips, so you reference where you are, your grid square. It's not a requirement to use the Made in a Grid Square system here at all, but I found it's really useful if people are logging. They like to know where you are, you know, in a bit more detail than just the general area. So I'll give them the Made in a Grid Square if that helps. Leave time to tour the park. This comes into the job of the filmmaker about getting locked in. You know, if you are only out for the day, make sure you can get in and get out and do your business while, you know, without getting locked into the place. And an additional consideration is if you go into somewhere like Lindisfarne, where you've got a tidal causeway. So if you rock over there and stick an aerial up, and then you sat there for a couple of hours, and then you look to see where the land is, and the path home is 6 foot under the water, you can have a bit of a stay. So just bear that in mind and plan your visits. Consider the band conditions, your battery. Hey, batteries! Transmit power and the length of your activation. So if you've only got a small battery, knock your power down so it lasts longer. It's common sense. Okay, be clear on the rules. Consider the rules for the places where you're going, local bylaws, etc., etc., your band plans. Obviously, I've already been made aware that the US and the UK band plans don't align. So if you've got somebody that's got a general class license, chances are he won't be able to talk to you because his allocation for HF on 40 metres doesn't come down far enough to overlap. But given the state of the propagation at the minute, the chances of actually working somewhere in the States from a portable location is, I won't say it's impossible, or it's going to be rare. Be persistent and be flexible. You know, if you get out there and something breaks, try and fix it. You know, work around it. Everybody has problems, unless your radio goes bang. But yeah, I mean, I went out on the POTA activation at the Peak District. I got the 40 metre whip on the top of the car, and I got the 270 whip on the top of the car. I got 3 contacts in the first half hour on HF, and then it all dried up because everybody was talking DX to on the King of Spain contest, and I couldn't get a contact out of anybody. So I dropped onto 2 metres and started working guys from the club that were marshalling. In fact, Pat, you was there, weren't you? You were on the first activation. So yeah, and within half an hour of moving on to FM, I'd reached the 10 goal, the goal of getting 10 QSOs, because I got 10 QSOs by that point, and I was into double figures. So just if one thing's not working for you, try something else, and don't go out with, you know, just say I'm going to do this band, because chances are something might happen, or propagation might not be there, or the weather might be crap, and just have a few different strings to your bow, and you should get out of it. Okay, this is kind of what you need if you're going off the beaten track a little bit into some of the more remote areas. So it's things like bug repellent, and make sure you get the right clothing. I mean, it's nice to walk in shorts, but when I walked the Penang journey a couple of years ago, the first day we set off from Settle and the weather was fine, so I thought I'd get, the shorts on great. And so we walked through a field that had got loads of cattle in it, and by the time we got out that field, all of us had basically been fed on significantly. And the pub landlord that was walking with us, who's a red-headed guy, he had whelps for the rest of the journey. So he had 16 days worth of whelps. I mean, I'm talking like big, massive, suppurating wounds. So if you're going somewhere just be mindful of the fact that you could be going into an area that's it's quite heavily infested with bugs and whatnot. But chances are you're going to be operating from a car park, you know, with either a mast up the side of the car or up on the top of the car. So it's just plan your journeys, plan your trips. Obviously, sunscreen. It's quite a thing for me because I've just had a mole taken off my back from last year's trip to Florida. Bit of sun damage, so just make sure you cover up. Maps, headlamps, if you're operating after dark. Great bit of kit for if you're doing the night shift or whatever you call it. Anybody that's been out /P contesting will know this, because you need a headlamp because you need both hands free. I don't know what you're fumbling about in the dark with one hand on a torch, and you know when you're trying to take some nuts and bolts out, you need a headlamp. First aid kit goes without saying, you should all have one in your cars anyway. Snacks, drinks, and power. Right, yours truly. This was an unplanned activation because I was actually there for UKAC before I became aware of the POTA scheme, but because the scheme is fairly open, I can actually put this log in and claim this reference. So this is Kun Gibbet. That's the gibbet stand there, that black thing, where they used to hang people.
Black apple contest in there.
That was quite a gnarly night, that one. It was a bit evil up there. That was when we had the wind and the rain.
Well, you like it on that. You have to go up there.
But you're about 1,000 feet there, and you've got a wicked view out over, looking out over Oxfordshire and Oxfordshire to the north, Berkshire to the east, and what is it to the west? No, it escapes me. But yeah, it's a really good place to play radio, that, because the takeoff in all directions is fantastic. So that was my my spot map for the contacts I made on the video when I did the Peak District from Ringing Low. So the red pins are the ones I made in HF. That one there is the RSGB. And then that one there is a bad spot. I don't know what happened with that one, but the locator that's on that call sign in QRZ.com isn't correct. It should be further up here. So you can see how far I got just using 25 watts on FM. Obviously elevation and all that, but that was just using the mag mount whip that I've got on the top of the car. That was anything fancy. So these are just some pics from the guys over the pond there. You've got Canada, you've got America, bring a friend. Okay, so mentioned Facebook. They do have a Facebook page. I'm on there, Phil's on there, Gary Swift's on there, your mate Mick's on there, I think, Steve. You know Mick that come to Field Day?
Oh, yeah.
He's on there.
K8MRD.
Yeah. So there's a few of us on there now. It's just a case of getting some activity generated. But it's all pretty friendly stuff, all fairly light-hearted, and everybody's really helpful. I've had a lot of support from the guys over in the States. You know, when I was getting stick from the wider UK amateur radio community, when I first mentioned this thing on Amateur Radio UK Facebook group, there was quite a few people that started sticking the boot in. But you know, Watford looks back, these guys gave me a lot of support. Yeah, everybody's really helpful, and I'm looking forward to it. Any questions? I think we've covered most of the stuff.
Is all that information on the website?
It is, yeah, there is actually an FAQ doc that you can download. There's a guide document that you can download. And if you get on the Facebook page and you go on Slack, there's people on there all the time. You just post a question and people come back to you fairly rapidly. Obviously, most of the people on Slack at the minute are obviously in North America. So if you're using Slack first thing in the morning, don't expect to get an answer until much later in the day.
Is there a UK Slack channel having a UK only?
They could be, but at the minute, like, there's only me using it from the UK, so it's, there's not. I don't really want to be sat there doing Billy Nomex, you know what I mean? But yeah, I could set one up. That's not an issue.
Can you send that link on how to get onto Slack?
You can do it from the website.
Or so you just type in Slack? Or
No, there's actually. I'll show you.
Is there many parts of Scotland been activated?
Scotland's not set up yet.
Is it?
No. Do you want a job?
Scotland, I'm going to coordinate, yeah?
Off you pop. I'll come.
No.
Shame,
No. Thinking logged in would be a nice place to.
yeah, yeah.
So this is the home page.
What's that?
This is the home page. So if you go to parksontheair.com, this is what you get. And there is a map on the home page, but at the minute that map is purely the one for the North American parks. Yeah. But you can see that's the list of regional coordinators. Oh, that's the list of right. They're the log submitters. That's the list of regional coordinators. So you've got Chile in there. I missed Chile off. New Zealand's there.
Is there a minimum amount of time before someone else will pop into that park and start calling the CQ?
No,
Oh right.
no, not at all.
You'll log each day in the same place?
Yeah.
You say you can have multiple people in the one park.
I mean, if you consider some of the national parks are quite big, like the Lake District, Peak District, and even the areas of outstanding natural beauty, you've got loads of real estate to go and play in.
Yeah.
So it's highly likely that you could get a number of operators in the same park, working the same reference in sort of like the four corners of the national park. But there's no restriction at all on the numbers of people that go in there. Right, now you need to see it slightly. No, it's just there used to be a link for Slack. Oh yeah, I mentioned the merch. So if you want a flag, you can get a flag and a t-shirt, all that rubbish. No, wristbands are not available. So there is a link to the Facebook page, and it is a closed group, so you do have to apply to or get invited in. So if anybody wants added in, let me know. So you wanted to see the Slack. So this is the application that I've got installed. You don't have to use it this way. You can actually use it from a web page, but I've got it installed. And basically what you've got down the side here, you've got all the different channels that you potentially could have access to. At the minute I've got access to those three. Parks on the Air, which is like a general chat. POTA call areas is that's the channel for the regional reps, and then you've got the spotting channel, and then you've got the ability to direct message people. So this guy here, Vance, he's the database administrator. and W3AAX Jason, he's actually the guy that runs it. So yeah.
Spare point to go on.
Yeah.
Spare point, that's
That's
a
a nature
that's
reserve.
a nature reserve.
That's in the database.
Is it?
That's there, yeah.
I'll not be working it.
That's it. It's on the,
Right, hang on. Let's have a look at.
I can't believe done a class in school, you can't even do a class in school, right?
Yeah. Is Wallerton Park on it?
No, that's a municipal park.
So what?
Municipal
What's
farm.
that mean?
Run by the council. Right, so this is the map
It's too much park.
of all the parks. So let's just zoom into where we are now.
Sure.
So if you wanted to look at Spurn Point,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Spurn Point, National Nature Reserve,
Yeah.
flat and long.
Then never been to Spurn Point.
No, what is it?
It's just basically a beach and a nature reserve.
It's up in
It's
a little. Look at it, please.
It's so peaceful.
Yeah. You've got.
Is it an ifmouth?
It's it.
And we always want to be what don't we? And don't we?
Been there loads of times.
Let's zoom in up a lot.
I've not gone very
Can't drive now. You can't drive now. When last time I went, I drove to end past the line now. The road's collapsed.
So clean.
That's right, isn't it? It's like this. It's like this. Go through it's like walking up cliffs now.
Yeah, that's Burn Valley.
I see you got an angle. Have you got
It's not nature
We
reserve.
went there last year. Yeah. There used to be a railway
Not a national
end in Victorian town.
Yeah, it's huge. Yes. It's basically anything that's in it's classed as an NNR, National Nature Reserve, an SAC, which is a Special Area of Conservation, an SPA, a Special Protected Area, or anything like that, or an RSPB reserve.
Can I just ask you, going back to Wallerton Park,
So it is SPB.
because you said it's a municipal run
Yeah,
park, but would it not also be classed as a conservation area because of the deer? It's a
if it's
breeding ground for
if
the
it's
deer, isn't
listed as a conservation area,
it? Right.
then it depends on the level it's listed at.
Right.
Yeah, if it's listed as a country park, I could get
Okay.
it.
It's listed as a deer park, isn't it? It's Wallerton Hall and Deer Park. It's
Right.
not. I know it is run by Nottingham City Council. I'll just ask him to. It's got some quite high.
Give it a few
points, hasn't
months, because obviously what I've just done is I've just taken this on, and I've taken on 350 parks that have never been activated, added another 150, and if I start adding loads more and there's only me activating, then
Yeah.
the guys are going to get a bit shirty. So it's a case of working with what we've got so far, and then it's a case of slowly catching monkeys.
Well, so now I know there's a map I can get to.
Yeah.
I can start going out and activating them, so.
Well, if in terms of stuff that's down your way,
Mangold's on there. I see it.
Langold, yeah, Langold's on there. So there's one down near Clipston.
Water.
What's that? That's Clubber Park. So
That's £7.50.
Yeah, we're not going there.
We're not
Ryan's
there.
already said that.
So Vicar's Water is actually on now, is it?
Vicar Water is, yeah,
Oh, right. Yeah.
that's it there.
Yeah, there's
444.
two, Phil.
Just
There's two at Vicar Water. You get to one point and it's quite high, you look over, but if you go further round, it will go up to the top of the...
Can you drive around there?
No, I don't.
No, it's a
Can't. What was the name of that park?
We've got-
We went to,
Rufford Park showed Salisbury Park. Are they on Brook?
Again, it
Well,
depends
they're all
on.
part of Clumber.
Quite high.
They're all part of Clumber. You could claim them under Clumber.
Yes.
It's a country park. It's all pit.
It's closely covered on there.
So, do you say you're going to...
Birchover,
There's one just near.
Yeah.
that's in the Peak District. It's classed as Peak District, so you could submit any log for the Peak District from Birchover.
Are they divided into light and dark?
Happily top.
Sorry?
Are they divided into white and dark?
No, it's just the Peak District National Park.
That's area anyway, isn't it?
Happily top, so we're-
Did you say you're going to send me a copy of that?
I'll post it on the Facebook group because
Right, yeah.
Andy, what's the one near Homewood? In between Homewood and Aslan?
Paulsbrook, I think. No, that one. That's not.
That's near Staveley.
That's not Paulsbrook. That must
Yeah.
that one then. Grassmore.
Yeah, that's more, that's Five Pitch Trail.
Yeah.
That's Five Pitch Trail, that.
Yeah.
You have something like catwalk there as well. So went up and to the left a bit. You blocked it out there.
Oh yeah, that's Lineker.
Right.
Lineker Reservoirs. That's in there.
Yeah.
That's
There's Ombrook Park, there's Ombrook Park and Lineker.
No. I think so.
South side of
My
Mark.
granddad was born in Staveley, that's why I asked.
No, there's nothing round there. If it's not a nature reserve, it could be added as a country park though. I mean, I just went on what I knew locally, so because I thought I'd stick in, this is like things are going to move out from here.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd build up the easy locations around where I am, and then obviously as more people become involved and give me intelligence from their locations, then I can build it up. But like I say, until we start actually activating these locations, I'm going to struggle to justify more because, well, if it's just me or just like a handful of people at the minute,
If they're listed, it's not hurting anything, is it?
Yeah.
it's not. But
I
it's,
wanted the map so I can know where...
they're applying the logic that they've got to in America because they've got 5,500 parks over there, and they've put an embargo on that because a lot of those parks have never been activated. As big as America is, obviously, there's tons of them that they just haven't activated yet. So they've said, look, what we want to do is we want to develop the wider community across the world, and then once we've developed that, then we can start looking at more parks. And it's like it's just generating interest in the UK. I mean, if I can say to them, look, this thing's kicking off over here, but people are asking for this location, that location. As long as I can justify it, as a valid place, then I don't see why I can't add it. But me turning up like next week and saying, oh, I want to add another 20, he'll probably say, oh, hang on.
I know you're an administrator.
Yeah. Well,
Any good guys go out and get logged in and will they, and it's somewhere that you want for we've both activated it. We're back to register it. You know what I'm saying? Location.
if I create it as a location
Yeah.
and you've already worked it,
No, I'm not saying that. If we go on holiday, somebody goes on holiday,
yeah,
right, goes in a park and activates it.
yeah.
Does it have to go through you? Is there
No, it doesn't go through me. None of the logs go through me at the minute.
Right.
That might change in future.
Yeah.
They go straight to the States.
It depends on the letter in your call sign as to who actually gets your log.
Yeah.
So, because I've got a 0 in my call sign, I'm 2E0, it goes to a guy called Jim. But if there was an M6, even though it's in England, it goes to somebody else. It's a bit weird how they've structured that, and maybe that will change over time, but that's the way it is for the time being, so we've just got to play by those rules.
I think what he's saying is if you go to a park and sort of activate it, can't it then just add it to your list?
Well, no, because you don't have the reference to it. To activate the park, you need the reference.
Yeah, right.
So you've got to give the people you're making contact with the part reference.
I mean, you can get a part rate, you can get
Yeah, but
a
it's got
longitude
to
latitude reference off your.
Yeah, it's not, no, the actual, like,
The
the
reference
G,
that is given when it's
and the
on
4
the
digits.
database.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It's an actual
Yeah.
photo.
If it's not listed in the database, you can't actually activate it
Yeah.
under the scheme.
Alright.
But if it's, I mean, if it's somewhere that you've already been to and worked and logged, for instance, you've been to one of the conservation areas around the Solent on holiday, and you've played radio and you've got a logbook, you can actually claim that because it's, you know, when you made that contact, it was in the database.
But you weren't giving out the reference when you were down in Gibbet, were you?
No, I wasn't.
That's before you actually registered with POTA, but he submitted his log with the location on it, and it was already on the list.
So you could be taking part in UCAC within the borders of a park
Yeah.
that's in that database.
Yeah.
And even though you're not participating in POTA,
You can
you
claim
can
it.
claim that as
Yeah.
a historical log.
Yes.
As long
Yeah,
as
yeah.
at
Sorry,
the time
I did
you were
say that you had to
operating,
include the part reference in your QSOs. You don't have to.
if you put in a historical log,
Yeah.
it's got to be in that database at the time you made
Yeah.
that.
I think that's about the only
That's
argument.
true as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite way apart from them,
But yeah, all you've got to do is get 10 QSOs, any band, and you don't have to, they don't have to be on the same band either, as you've seen from my logs. You know, you can mix and match. If it's dry on one particular band and you've only got 1 or 2, you can change it up, go on 2 meters and offer back a bit of local traffic.
So if you go on that Andy's Facebook page and watch his POTA activation video, it goes from when he sets up right up through to, is it 3 or 4 QSOs you've got on there throughout the day?
No, I've got 13. And
No, I mean on the actual video.
oh,
Because you didn't put all the QSOs
no, I
on
didn't.
there.
I only actually recorded conversations on a couple of them,
Yeah, yeah,
and one of them was the 10th one,
yeah,
where I actually got the activation,
yeah.
which was actually a member from this club, which was nice.
Yeah. We also had one that was on the hill just opposite as well, wasn't it? It was part to part.
Yeah, there was a guy. Who was actually stood at Stanish Pole,
Yeah.
and he just had to hear me calling, and he answered me. So I claimed him.
Oh, Moss a bit best. Oh, Moss.
Sorry,
Oh, Moss, 1,024 feet.
Oh, yeah, that did.
That's in National
There we
Park.
go.
that's in National Park. Yeah,
Well, the Isle of Wight
Get up
was
on Soldier's
about
Lawn.
10 or 12.
And there's an ice cream man at top.
yeah.
I can't believe there's none in Scotland. I haven't got it like that.
If you go to Home Moss, you can claim the Peak District for POTA, and then you've got a Black Hill and claim Black Hill under POTA. Sorry, SOTA.
Alright.
If you do that, this Black Hill is near there, and that's a SOTA summit. But that involves getting out of the car and getting your boots on. Okay, is everybody happy?
Very happy.
Enjoyed it?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.